Hi everyone, and thanks for stopping by to this video. In this video I'm going to go through the S.H.Figuarts Jiren action figure, standing right here beside me. So this is the figure itself. Now I'm going to go through the full unboxing, so going through the packaging, the figure, the optional parts, and then I'll follow that with a summary of what I think of the figure itself. Jiren, I really like the character, but let's see what I think of the figure itself. If you like what you see, please give this video a thumbs up, and enjoy the video as it unfolds before you. So here's Jiren in the box. Now, because it's a web exclusive, of course it does come in this brown shipper box first. So this is just a plain box for the most part with a barcode and some text on there. So just keep that in mind. Because it's a web exclusive, it should come in a brown shipper box if you're a collector and care about that. So here's the packaging itself. So it pretty much uses the same sort of template for the other Dragon Ball figures, Super Z, whatever kind of series it is. So you got the window cutout, the name of the character, portrait of the character as well, and then you kind of see the display of some of the optional parts. So he comes with a couple of optional head pieces, and there's a red eye piece behind this little cutout bit here as well. Gets foldable arms, and then you got the sticker for Tamashi's official kind of thing to kind of check that you got a legit product as well. But yeah, otherwise it's pretty much the same sort of packaging that you'll find for every other Dragon Ball figure. On the spine you got a bit more photos of Jiren himself. On the back, even more photos displaying the guy in action. Just kind of pointing out, sometimes he kind of looks a little bit shiny, sometimes it looks quite matte, because I guess it's a 3D render. You can kind of see what he looks like on the front already. Bit shiny-ish. I'm more of a matte kind of person, but we'll get into that in more detail once we cover the figure itself. But generally, I think the figure looks quite cool, because I just kind of like this red and black and simple silhouette that Jiren's got. But otherwise, it's pretty much what you expect from S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball figures, and then that's pretty plain too. Bottom is also Jiren, picture in black and white, and that's it. So let's get the figure open, and I'll run through what the figure is and optional parts and so on and so forth. And here is the Jiren figure out of the box. Now he comes with a few different optional parts, and I'll go through those first. So with the heads, let's just do those quickly. So of course you can see the default head that's applied to him, and he's kind of looking up to the left, and I'll show you up to the right, sorry, and I'll show you that in closer detail shortly. And then he's got this alternate head, which actually is similar way the eyes are positioned, but he's just gritting his teeth. These are lettered heads, so inside under the chin roughly you may be able to see it. It's lettered with B, C and D, kind of make it out there. For some reason this time around they have put supports inside the heads, so you can just take this off like so. I'm not really sure the reason for that. Actually, this is the joint that's inside the figure, but I'm not sure why they've included it with the rest of the heads, because they don't really stand up or anything. But that's one head, and I'll put that out of the way. Show you the other one. Again, eyes looking up towards the right, and then this time he's got his mouth wide open. So it's quite a clean head sculpt and clean paint job for all of these heads actually. So that's pretty good. And then his final one is with the red eyes, with the mouth wide open. You can see that there. Try and give you a closer look at the ears as well, because his ears are quite unique. So that's the head. So the heads in general are pretty good. I do wish they kind of gave alternate eye positions though. Anyway, going towards the hands. So he's got the fists, of course, that are applied to the figure already, and then he comes with a pair of karate chopping hands. His hands are pretty big actually, and these are just plain white because they're gloved hands. Then we've got these kind of grappling hands. Again, a pair of these, and with the pearl white. And then for this guy, we get an effect part hand. So this is actually a very nice kind of orange yellow translucent hand, and it looks really cool. And I'll attach this one later on. And then for his effect part, it's just a flaming hand effect piece. And it kind of goes on both hands. If you do put it on the fists, the white fists, you might end up getting some paint on them, some like red paint or something. So be careful with that. Or you can just use this hand if you want. But if, say you wanted it on the left hand, that's possible as well. Just position it correctly. I'll show you that in just a moment. Then for the other hands, so it's a pair kind of and not. So it's just this, extra grappling hand. But the right hand is already applied to, a piece. And this piece, of course, belongs to Super Saiyan God Goku. I actually have not opened that figure. I've had it for a while, I've just not opened it. So I'm not going to be able to show you that right now. But basically, once you have that figure, you can just swap out the bangs on that figure with this one. And then you can pose it such that Jiren's kind of holding him by the the head. So that's pretty cool that they've given that, actually. I didn't know that it came with that, but that's pretty cool. Then he comes with folded arms. Now these pretty much attach to the figure, as you might expect if you've seen my M. Bison video or other Dragon Ball figures like Vegeta. You just have to yank off the left and the right arm and then put this on. Now this Jiren figure, first up, is surprisingly lightweight for the size of the figure. He's a pretty big, bulky figure. Let me just get out of the way. I love the sculpt. Like, the muscles on this guy are, for me, perfect. Like, this guy has got such an awesome silhouette, and all the muscle tone on him, from his biceps, shoulders, legs, abs, back. And I'll show you the back right here. Everything is really, really well done on this guy. He is a hench character. He's a big tank dude, and I'll show you side by side with regular Goku that I do have open, and of course Vegeta as well. So, you know, he means business. I really love Jiren as a character, apart from his backstory, but his design is really, like, so simple but executed, in my opinion, so well at the same time. Like, he's just so clean. He doesn't have crazy hair, he doesn't have all these extra lines going on. He just has a simple muscular build, and he's bold as well, so it keeps everything super simple, and this figure really captures that perfectly, in my opinion. Now, on first glance, you might think this is no different or very, very similar to the Dragon Stars figures. I don't collect those, so I can't do a direct one-to-one comparison, and I won't, unfortunately, because I don't want to buy the Dragon Stars figures. But yeah, S.H.Figuarts do make completely different and more you know, adventurous figures, if you like, because they have more articulation. They're collectibles, high-end collectibles, basically. But in general, the way this figure looks is very cool, but it is lightweight for what you might think ordinarily. He is very, very lightweight. But giving you a closer look at his face, it's again just like the other heads, very clean sculpt. The eyes are good. They do look up again, like I said, but it's a very nice, clean head sculpt. And then all the paint on this guy is very simple, but executed very, very well. The boots, the gloves, you know, the V black, it looks great. It looks so great. Honestly, it's a simple figure. You know, there's not a lot to talk about, but because of how simple it is, I just really like it for that as well. But let's just go through the articulation then. Just gonna point out that I do have a loose leg here, and it does kind of come off at the joint, in case I forget to mention it. So I'm gonna mention that now. Let's go from top to bottom. So his head can move back, like so, and it can move down. If you want to have him looking down, just do this, pull him all the way down like so, and then grab it here and then push it by the lower neck joint. So he looks down just marginally. It's not great, it's not perfect. You can kind of see how much difference it is, but it is possible to a small degree. Tilts left and right, and of course looks either direction. His arms are pretty good, so he's got the butterfly thing here, so you can pull those out and go in. I'll show you the other side as well, that's a bit more obvious. That's pretty good. The shoulders do drop down inside, so the inside joint here is on a ball, but otherwise here it's on a hinge. And it's very cool. So when you drop it down, it allows him to bring his shoulder up a little bit more, whereas if you have it up, it traps about there. Bring it up, and of course bring it down. Bicep swivel is always great. I really, really, really want my figures to have bicep swivel, especially if they have, like, you know, if they're fighting characters basically, or characters that fight a lot like him, then the bicep is just mandatory in my opinion. So it's great that he has one. This is where you yank the arm off, by the way, to swap it for the folding arms. I'll show you that soon. Folding at the elbow, and then the wrist is as you would expect it. Then for the torso, you can crouch forward like so, and then move back as well. If you have it in more of a neutral position, he's not going to be able to twist too much to the left or the right. Just lean him back a bit and you can go a bit further on. So that's just because of his top abs are a bit hench, but it's okay. It's actually really fine. Bottom, and then not so much in terms of crunch, but backwards he can do a little bit. Then for his legs, so I'm going to show you on the left leg because the right leg pops off sometimes. He's got the twist right here. He can't pull down, but he can bring his leg up like so. And then not so much towards the back, but you can twist it and then bring it up like that. Then the knee, like so. Sadly, there is no boot swivel. I think it would have been a plus if they did add it, but it's not a minus either. And then the ankle, like so. And then the toe, like so. That's pretty much his articulation. Very, very simple. I don't know if I lean him, but here we go, leaning him as well. In terms of any issues with the joints or anything like that, like I said, it's pretty much only this leg that pops off, and you know, I can kind of show you how easy it is right there. You know, it's easy for me. I find it a little bit loose, but it's okay. I think his arms might end up being an issue later when you pull them out too much to swap with the folding arms. I can't say that for sure because I haven't done that more than a couple of times. So yeah, you just have to try your luck with that one. But otherwise, you know what, the figure is pretty much fine. Like, I don't have a huge number of issues with it. So let's just kind of show you the hands quickly before I swap the entire arms off. Let's do the pearl hand. I like to call it the pearl hand for some reason, even though it's not really pearl, but let's do that. This one doesn't really click into place, but it seems to be in there. Looks very cool, coming right at you. And if you're going to use this effect part, the long bit usually goes on the outer side towards the elbow, but it really does depend on how you've got the hand positioned as well. Pretty much just force it in, and then that's just now twisting because of the hand articulation itself. But that's really all you have to do. It doesn't always fit snug, and I choose not to do that either, just in case the hand gets stuck and then when you pull it out the hand is stuck inside. I would hate if that happened, which can happen at times, but it's actually not bad. I've played around with this figure and it does stay quite snugly actually. So that's that hand. I'll quickly show you the Goku head one, because why not? Just attach that as well, same thing. And then let's take that off now and bring it back to the pearl hand because I don't want any hair to get in the way. Now I can show you head swap, so pull off the head like so, and then there you can see the joint is completely different. It's not just on the regular ball joint, which is usually the case. It's on one of these support ones. I'm going to change it for the red eyes because it's the most obvious change. So pull it out, and here you can see it's the same thing. What you got to do, line it up, and that's it. Very simple head swap. Then to change the arms, so this is where you got to tug at the bicep right here at the swivel point. Tug that off, and there you can see. And then for the next one, now I'll pull that off at the joint there, which didn't happen to me before, but that could be something that happens to people over time. So just pinch at the shoulders and twist off. Now his shoulders do come forward, as I mentioned before, and this is how you're going to get his arms attached to make it easy for you. Just pull them forward. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky to do it, so just kind of feel it out a bit. And there we go. So because I'm doing it on camera, it can be a little bit more awkward. Bring out the joint here like so, and then just line it up as best as you possibly can. Tinker around with it. I might not be able to get it on camera, so I might have to skip this bit and then cut to it when it's done. But you can see the joint here. Just kind of push it. And you might want to lift his arm up a bit to make it easier, and then you just rest him down. And there we go. That's Jiren. One thing I wanted to mention is that when he stands, once you've got his arms attached like this, are folding arms, sometimes he can kind of lean forward a bit, and the ankle joints can be a little bit on the loose side, so he leans forward and then doesn't, stand properly. Generally speaking, he's okay. He's not a bad balance figure, but the joints really are going to depend on how he holds up for you and your individual figure. But generally, yeah, he's okay. But with his crossed arms, he looks really, really cool. I do think it looks very good indeed. He's a very strong looking guy, and of course he is if you've seen the anime or read the manga. Bringing out Goku though, so bringing Goku side by side. So Jiren actually stands around 16.5 centimeters, give or take. Goku is of course much shorter than him. You can see right there. This is regular Goku. I don't have Super Saiyan God Goku open sadly, so this will have to make do. I'm gonna put him to the side because I feel he's falling down very soon. Bringing out Vegeta. Ignore his hair because I just kind of combined them a long time ago and I never bothered changing it back. Vegeta is of course shorter than Jiren. Put Vegeta back because he's going to fall too. So basically, I do like Jiren. He's a very, very cool figure, and you can see how he stacks up with the other Dragon Ball figures. He comes with a decent amount of parts as well, so I think they are pretty good in general. So the Jiren action figure is pretty simple overall in terms of articulation and even in design terms, but that's just the way the character is as well, and I like that. And sometimes simple is just a lot better for me, and that's all we ever need. We don't need anything extra or any extra fluff. Articulation wise as well, it's pretty simple and kind of what you would expect. I would also compare it to say Hulk Avengers S.H.Figuarts figure, which a simple figure again, but the articulation and execution is done to a good standard, and that's what I feel about Jiren. For this figure in general. Now again, I only collect S.H.Figuarts. I don't collect the Dragon Star Dragon Ball figures, so I don't know if for someone out there might feel like the extra expense for an S.H.Figuarts might be too much, and the Dragon Stars kind of fits their needs and fits their budget, and if so, more power to you. But for me, I collect only S.H.Figuarts, and this one is a good pickup for me, and I would recommend it if you're a Jiren fan and a big Dragon Ball Super fan as well. Will we see the other guys in his team? Maybe, maybe not. I don't mind seeing them, to be honest, because I didn't mind some of those characters. But for me, Jiren is a good pickup. But there is another Jiren figure coming out, which is the final battle version, which has him without his top on. It's all torn up and his muscles are kind of popping out. And some people have been waiting for that instead of getting this version. But for me, both are kind of a must get because I like this outfit overall. So overall, I do like this figure, and again, I do recommend it. Thank you very much for watching though. Do check out my channel for more Dragon Ball unboxings and other kind of action figures from other IP. If you want to subscribe, you can do that too, and you'll be updated on when I drop a new video, which tends to be every couple of weeks at this moment. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and stay safe out there. Goodbye.